Shalom, Zion. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to Yashar'al, to Ishar'al, to Ishar'um, to the whole house of Ishar'al, to Yashar'al, all 12 tribes, to the older brother Yahudah, to the younger brother Ephraim, to the stranger, to the Gur, to the Goyim, who has engrafted into us. Shalom to you, wherever your feet touch the soil on this preparation yom. Shalom, shalom to you. Shalom to the whole Bayif of Yashar'al on this preparation yom. Shalom, shalom. A message to the remnant of Yashar'al, to Isha'al, to Isharum. Where the Spirit is, where the Ruakh is, there is freedom. Where the Ruakh is, where the Spirit is, there is freedom. There is freedom. Zion, as I scan the landscape of Yashar'al, of Ishar'al, both from afar and from up close, judging by the amount of people who have privately messaged me, as I scan the landscape, Zion, what I have noticed and what the Ruakh has shown me within the house of Yashar'al is that many have knowledge. Many have knowledge. Many have a form of reverence, but they deny the power that could set them free. Many know tzitzits. They know head wraps. They know abri, the Hebrew language, and many indeed have changed their names to abri names. But Zion, they do not understand the Ruakh. They do not understand things of the Ruakh. And because they do not understand the things of the Ruakh, Zion, the very scriptures that they are reading, and some of you who I am speaking to, maybe this applies to you. If it applies to you, I pray that the message that is spoken today through his messenger will aid in setting you free. Will aid in setting you free. Nevertheless, the very scriptures that many read are dead to them because there is no spirit. There is no spirit. They fail to understand that the Spirit is he that they are indeed reading. It is the Spirit indeed that they are indeed reading from those pages, which makes the word alive, which makes it a two-edged, a double-edged sword. It is alive and living. Indeed, it is the Spirit who gives life, but because many lack the Spirit, they lack life. They lack life. And the very words that could give life, they're not giving life because they have not the Spirit, and they can't discern the Spirit in the very words that they're reading. They're dead to them. They're dead. They're just words. They're dead words because they reject the very power that could set them free. They reject the Spirit, the Ruakh HaKodesh, the very Spirit that could set them free. Indeed, many of them don't believe in the HaMashiach. Many of them don't believe in the Brit Kadashah. So no wonder the scriptures are dead to them. And no wonder there is no life in them. No wonder that indeed they know tzitzits and they know head wraps, and many know the Abri language, and many have changed their names. Indeed, they know this, but they do not know the things of the Spirit. They do not know the things of the Spirit. The Spirit, the Ruakh, the Spirit is water. The Spirit is mayim. The Spirit is water. Indeed, the Abri letter Mam is represented by water. We hear the Hebrew letter Mam in the Abri word for water, mayim, in the beginning. Indeed, the Abri letter mam is represented by water. As water gives life, hear me, the Spirit gives life. Hence, we read in YAHUAH'S, the 7th chapter, the 37th through the 39th verse, on the last day, and this is with regards to Sukkot, or the Feast of Booth, or Feast of Tabernacle, and this is the last great day, the 8th day, Simchat Torah. And on the last day, the great day of the festival, Yahushua stood and cried out, saying, if anyone thirsts, let him come to me, and let him who believes in me drink. As the scripture said, out of his innermost shall flow rivers of, hear me, living waters. And this he said concerning the Spirit, the Ruakh, which those believing in him were about to receive. For the set-apart Spirit was not yet given, because Yahushua was not yet esteemed. Indeed, the Spirit is represented by water. The Spirit is water. As water gives life, and as nothing on earth can live without water, the Spirit gives life, and nothing on earth can live without the breath, the wind, the Ruakh, the Spirit of the Most High Yah. Moreover, we read in Matthew, the 12th chapter, verse 43 through 45. It reads here, now when the unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through, hear me, dry places. He goes through dry places, seeking rest, and finds none. Then it says, I shall return to my house from which I came, and when it comes, it finds it empty, swept, and decorated. Then it goes and takes with it seven other Ruakh, 7 other spirits, more wicked than itself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. So shall it also be with this wicked generation. So we understand here by this text that spirits, demonic spirits, wicked spirits, dwell in dry places. Indeed, where they dwell, there is no life. There is no spirit. There is only dryness and death. You see, they don't bring life. They bring death. Hence, they dwell in dry places. And it reads, when a spirit is cast out of a man, it goes through dry places, trying to find rest. What type of rest is it trying to find? Indeed, a murderous spirit, a murderous Ruakh, needs a vessel, needs a dry vessel, in order to carry out its murderous desires. It can't murder on its own. It needs a vessel to murder for it. It needs a vessel to carry out its murderous desires. And so it needs a dry vessel, lacking the spirit, lacking the water. Hence, when it comes back, it finds it empty, swept, and decorated, lacking life, lacking water. It finds it dry. It goes back and gets 7 more wicked Ruakh, more wicked than itself, and they come back and dwell in that dry place, so that then they can find rest, so that the vessel will then carry out their wicked desires. Indeed, if it is a murderous Ruakh, then the vessel that they're dwelling in will carry out their murderous desires. If it is a lustful Ruakh, then the vessel that they are inhabiting will carry out their lustful desires. It needs a vessel to carry out its desires, and not until it carries out its desires will it find rest. Nevertheless, it needs a dry vessel, lacking water, lacking wetness, lacking life, because where the spirit is, there is freedom. And where the spirit is, the Ruakh is, there is life. As water gives life, as water is representative of spirit, The Spirit gives life. The Spirit gives life. Nevertheless, dryness equals death. Dryness equals thirst. All who are without water die of thirst. Hear me. The Spirit and our water gives life. The Spirit and our mayim and our water, again, we hit a mom in mayim, it gives life. Hence, we read in YAHUAH'S, John, the 4th chapter, verse 7 through 14, a woman of Shamarum came to draw water. Yahushua said to her, "Give me to drink," for his taught ones had gone off into the city to buy food. The woman of Shamarum therefore said to him, "How is it that you, being a Yahudi, ask a drink from me, a woman of Shamarum? For Yahudim do not associate with Shamarunim. And I don't have time to address that in this video. I don't want to make this video too long, so I want to address that. Maybe in subsequent videos, I will address that. Actually, in subsequent videos, I have already addressed this. Nevertheless, it reads, for Yahudim do not associate with Shamarunim. Yahushua answered and said to her, if you knew the gift of Elohim, and who it is who says to you, give me to drink, you would have asked, and he would have given you, hear me, living water. Living water. Water gives life. Without water, there is no life. You die of thirst. Without the Spirit, there is no life. There is no life. You die of thirst. The woman said to him, Master, you have no vessel, and the well is deep. From where then do you have living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gives us the well and drank from it himself, and his sons and his cattle? Yahushua answered and said to her, everyone drinking of this water shall thirst again, but whoever drinks of the water mayim I give him shall certainly never thirst and never die of thirst. And the water that I give him shall become in him a fountain of water springing up into what? Everlasting life. Indeed, truly, truly, I say to you that unless one is born from above, born of the Ruakh, born of the Spirit, then he will by no means enter into the reign of Shamayim. He will by no means enter into the reign of Shamayim. Nevertheless, where the Spirit is, there is freedom. Where the Spirit is, there is life. Where the Spirit is, there is freedom. Where the Spirit is, there is life. As we read in Matif Yahu, the 12th chapter, beginning at verse 22 through 29, we read, Then they brought to him one who was demon-possessed, blind and dumb, and he healed him, so that the blind and dumb man spoke and saw. And all the crowds were amazed and said, Is this the son of Dawood? But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, This one does not cast out demons except by Baal-zebul, the ruler of the demons. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said to them, Every reign divided against itself is laid waste, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, or Shaitan, he is divided against himself. How then does his reign stand? And if I, by Baal-zebul, do cast out demons, by whom do your sons cast them out? Because of this they shall be your judges. But if I cast out demons by the Spirit of Elohim, then the reign of Elohim has come upon you. Or how is one able to enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods, unless he first binds the strong man, and then he shall plunder his house? I submit to you, Zion, that many of you and many in the house of Yasharal have not had their houses plundered. They have not had their houses plundered. Thus there is no life in them. There is no spirit in them. There is dryness. There is thirst. And they are dying of thirst because living water, the living Mayim, the Ruakh of the Most High Yah does not dwell in them. Indeed, he cannot dwell where there is uncleanness. He cannot dwell where there are unclean spirits. And until these unclean spirits are cast out of them, living water cannot reside in them. The Spirit of the Most High cannot reside in them. Thus they are in bondage. They are in bondage. Many are fickle and diseased in mind and confused, because I need you to understand that where there is confusion, there is a lack of the Ruakh of the Most High Yah, because you see, he brings order. He brings order. And so where there is fickleness of mind and confusion of mind, where there is chaos and disorder, the Spirit of the Most High Yah is not there. Indeed, your house has not been plundered. Your house has not been plundered. I have seen many in the house of Yasharal carrying these bondages and these diseases of the mind and of the body. I have seen them carrying depression and schizophrenia and anxiety. I have seen them carrying these devils. They come to me not knowing what to do about it and not understanding that their houses have not been plundered. Many are on social media and many are on Facebook, and they put on a fair face, but inwardly they are being tormented. They are on Facebook trying to proclaim and trying to teach, because indeed they have an understanding of knowledge. They have an understanding of zitzits and head wraps and name changes and the Abri language. Indeed, they have an understanding of these things, but they lack an understanding of the things of the spiritual realm, because their houses have not been plundered. And they put on this fair face, but they are being tormented. They are being tormented by devils, and they don't know what to do about it. They don't know what to do about it. This is the case throughout Yasharal. Many in Yasharal are in bondage. Many in Yasharal are being tormented. Many are diseased of mind and body. They are being diseased in mind and body because they have carried wicked demonic spirits with them in Yasharal. And there is very few in Yasharal who knows how to deal with these wicked Ruakh and set them free. Indeed, where the Spirit is, there is freedom. Where the Spirit is, there is freedom. The reason that you are in bondage, the reason that you are in slavery, the reason that you are being tormented, the reason that you are fickle and confused of mind is because the Spirit who gives life, living water, is not there. Your house has not been plundered. Your house has not been plundered. Indeed, we read in Mark, the 3rd chapter, beginning at the 22nd verse through the 27th verse, a similar account here from what we just read. And it reads here, beginning at verse 22, and the scribes who came down from Jerusalem said, he has Baalzebul, and he cast out demons by the ruler of the demons. And calling them near, he said to them in parables, how is Satan able to cast out Satan? And if a reign is divided against itself, that reign is unable to stand. And if a house is divided against itself, that house is unable to stand. And if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he is unable to stand, but has an end. No one, hear me, is able to enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods, unless he first binds the strong man, and then he shall plunder his house. Now, the strong man spoken here is representative of Satan, or demonic spirits. And in order for that house to be plundered, then one stronger than the strong man that resides in that house must come and bind the strong man, and then plunder his house, or plunder his goods. You are the house, Zion. Some of you who are listening to me, you are the house, and your house has not been plundered. The stronger man is the spirit. The stronger man is the spirit. And you are in bondage because there is dryness in you, there are demons in you, and there is no life, there is no spirit, there is no living water, there is no mahim in you. The water gives life. It is water that gives life, and there is no water in you, and you're dying of thirst, and you don't know what to do about it. You don't know what to do about it because very few in the house of Yasharal know about spiritual matters. Again, they know about zitzits and hit raps. They know about name changes. They know the Abri language, but they do not know the things of the spiritual realm. Hence, many in Yasharal are in bondage, because their houses have not been plundered, and they're dying of thirst because there is no water in them. There is no spirit in them. Indeed, the spirit cannot dwell where there is uncleanness. And so those unclean Ruachs must be cast out by a stronger man, by Yahushua HaMashiach, by the Spirit of the Most High Yah, so then that his spirit, his water, his living water can come inside and quench those dry places that are in you and heal you. Indeed, in Yahuchanan John, the 8th chapter, the 31st through the 36th verse, we read, So Yahusha said to the Yahudim who believe, If you stay in my word, you are truly my taught ones, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answered him, We are the seed of Abraham, and have been servants to no one at any time. How do you say, you shall become free? Yahusha answered them, Truly, truly, I say to you, anyone doing sin is a servant of sin. And the servant does not stay in the house forever. A son stays forever. If then the Son makes you free, you shall be free. Indeed, the Son is Yahuwah. The Son is the Spirit, and it is the Spirit who sets free. It is the Spirit who makes free. Indeed, even demonic possession is a result of sin. It is a result of your sinful past life. But they don't just go away. They don't just go away. Indeed, sometimes it does not take a vessel of Yahuwah to come and cast out that devil. Sometimes it merely takes you crying out to the Most High Yah, bypassing the vessel and going directly to the Most High Yah, crying out on the threshing floor, fasting and praying and crying out for deliverance to the Spirit of the Most High Yah, for deliverance from those unclean Ruachs. But indeed, it is the Spirit who sets free. Indeed, it is the Son who sets free. Indeed, it is the Son who sets you free from bondage, who sets you free from slavery. It is the Spirit who gives life. It is the Spirit who sets free from bondage, from demonic oppression, from depression and anxiety and fickleness and confusion of mind, and from that lustful spirit that causes you to masturbate. It is the Spirit who sets you free from these things. But you don't seek him because you have a form of reverence. You have knowledge. You have understanding. You have knowledge of zitzits and hit raps, and you have a knowledge of the Abri language, and you have changed your name, but you have no knowledge of the Spirit, and thus you are still in bondage. You are still in bondage because it is the Son whom most of you, who some of you deny. It is the Spirit. The Son is the Spirit. The Son is the Father. It is He who sets free. It is the Spirit who sets free. It is the water who sets us free from thirst. It is the water who gives life. It is the water who quenches dry places, but you won't seek Him. You won't seek Him because you have no knowledge of Him, and many of you reject Him. You have a form of reverence, but you deny the power that could set you free. You deny the power that could set you free. In Corinthian Bait of 2 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter, verse 15 through 18, we read, "But to this day, when Masha is being read, a veil lies on the heart, and when one turns to the Master, the veil is taken away. Now Yahusha is the Spirit. Now Yahuwah rather is the Spirit. And where the Spirit of Yahuwah is, there is freedom." And where the Spirit of Yahuwah is, there is freedom. So if the Spirit of Yahuwah is in you, there is freedom. There is freedom. There is no bondage in you. It is the Son that sets free. It is the Spirit who sets free. And where the Spirit is, there is freedom. And if the Spirit is in you, there is no fickleness of mind. There is no confusion of mind. There is no anxiety. There is no depression. There is no schizophrenia. There is no bipolarism. There isn't any of these demonic spirits in you, because where the Spirit is, they can't dwell. They can't dwell because they need dry places. And where the Spirit is, there is fertile ground. It is wet. It is flowing with water. Living water is flowing out of your innermost being. And they need dryness. They cannot exist where there is wetness. Dryness cannot exist where there is wetness. They need dryness, and you are still dry because those wicked Ruakh have not been cast out of you by a stronger man, by the Spirit of the Most High Yah, by Yahushua HaMashiach, and thus you are still in bondage. You are still in bondage. When I was in the Christian church, I used to hear people declare a lot, especially in the charismatic movement of the Christian church. We plead the blood of, and they use the name Jesus. We plead the blood of Jesus. I no longer use that name, but there's still relevance in pleading the blood of Yahusha. There is still relevance in pleading the blood of Yahusha. And we need to understand what that relevance is. You see, in the Christian church, they don't understand the reverence because many of them refuse to read Torah. And the root of pleading the blood of Yahusha is found in the Torah. It is found in the Torah. As we read in Ruakh, Leviticus, the 25th chapter, and we're going to read verse 39 through 55, we read here, "And when your brother who dwells by you becomes poor, and sells himself to you, do not make him serve as a slave." Many of you are slaves. Many of you are still bound by Hashatan and by his demonic horde. You are a slave. You are a slave. And because you're still bound by his demonic horde, you're still a slave to sin. You're still a slave to it. And you're fickle and confused in mind. You have anxiety and depression, and you have what they diagnose as bipolarism and schizophrenia, but these are demons. These are demons because you're still bound by Hashatan, and a stronger man has not come in to bind the strong man to set you free, to set you free. But you do not treat him as a slave or serve. Do not make him serve as a slave, but as a hired servant. As a settler he is with you, and serves you unto the year of Yobel, of Jubilee. And when he shall leave you, he and his children with him, and shall return to his own clan, even return to the possession of his fathers. For they are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Mashraim. They are not sold as slaves. Do not rule over him with harshness, but you shall fear your Elohim. And your male and your female slaves whom you have from the nations that are around you, from them you buy male and female slaves, and also from the sons of the strangers sojourning among you, from them you buy, and from their clans who are with you, which they bring forth in your land, and they shall be your property. And you shall take them as an inheritance for the children or after you, to inherit them as a possession. They are your slaves for all time. But over your brothers, the children of Yasha'al, you do not rule with harshness, one over another. Now when a sojourner or a settler with you becomes rich, and your brother with him becomes poor, hear me, listen. Now when a sojourner or a settler with you becomes rich, and your brother with him becomes poor, and sells himself to the settler or sojourner with you, or to a member of the sojourner's clan, after he has been sold, there is a right of redemption to him. There is a right of redemption to him. One of his brothers does redeem him. One of his brothers does redeem him, or his uncle's son does redeem him. It does not say that he can redeem him, that he may redeem him, or that he should redeem him. The text specifically says that his brother does redeem him, that one of his brothers does redeem him because they have the right of redemption, or his uncle's son does redeem him, or anyone who is a close relative to him in his clan does redeem him. Or if he is able, then he shall redeem himself. And he shall reckon with him who bought him. The price of his release shall be according to the number of years, from the year that he was sold to him unto the year of Yobel. As the days of a hired servant it is with him. If there are yet many years according to them, he repays the price of his redemption from the silver of his purchase. And if few years are left unto the year of Yobel, then he shall reckon with him, and according to his years he repays him the price of his redemption. He is with him as a yearly hired servant, and he does not rule with harshness over him before your eyes. And if he is not redeemed in these years, then he shall be released in the year of Yobel, he and his children with him, because, hear me, because the children of Yasha'al, of Israel, are servants to me. They are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Mashraim. I am your Elohim. And as we read in Kapha Aleph of 1 Peter, the first chapter, verse 17 through 21, it reads here, and if you call on the Father, who without partiality judges according to each one's work, pass the time of your sojourning in fear, knowing that, listen, hear me, knowing that you were redeemed from your futile behavior, inherited from your fathers, not with what is corruptible, silver or gold, but with the precious blood of Messiah, as of a lamb unblemished and spotless, foreknown indeed before the foundation of the world, but manifested in these last times for your sakes, who through him believe in Elohim, who raised him from the dead and gave him esteem, so that your belief and expectation are in Elohim. Yahusha is our kinsman redeemer. Yahusha is our brother who redeems us. He is our kinsman redeemer, and he has paid the price. He has purchased us. He has redeemed us from bondage. He has redeemed us from slavery. So it is the blood of Yahusha that delivers you from bondage. It is the blood of Yahusha that delivers you from schizophrenia and bipolarism and anxiety and depression and fickleness and confusion of mind. It is the blood of Yahushua who sets you free. Indeed, it is the Son who sets free. It is the Spirit who sets free. As indeed it is written that your brother does redeem you. Your brother does redeem you. It is not a suggestion. It is not a suggestion. The demonic spirits that have you bound, they must receive the payment. They must accept the payment of his blood. They have no choice but to accept it. They must flee when this payment is applied to you. They must flee when the blood is applied to your fickle, confused mind. They must flee when the blood is applied to your anxiety and depression and your lust that causes you to masturbate. They must flee when the payment is applied to schizophrenia. They must accept the payment. There is power in the payment. They must accept it. They must accept it. Why must they accept it? Because everything and Shamayim and on the Eretz is subject to the word of Yah, is subject to his set apart Torah, whether they want to or not. Everything is subject to his set apart Torah, to his righteous Torah, to his right ruling, and they must submit. They have no choice. They must submit to the payment, to the blood payment from our Hamashiach, which sets us free from all bondage and from all slavery and from all manner of bondage that was placed on you by Hashatan, by Pharaoh, because he is Pharaoh over Mitzrayim. He is Pharaoh over Egypt, because Egypt represents bondage. It represents slavery. It represents sin. And he is Pharaoh. Pharaoh must respect the payment of the blood. He must respect it. He has no choice but to respect the payment of the blood. Plead the blood of Yahushua over every bondage in your life, and watch the Son set you free. And watch the Son, the Spirit, set you free. Hallelujah. 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 I mentioned earlier that mom is represented by water, and water is representative of spirit. However, when we look at the Abri word for blood, we find the word dam, spelled D-A-M. This is where this is the root of Adam. So we find the word dam, and that's, if you listen very closely, you hear the mom in it, D-A-M, mom. You hear the mom in it, and wherever the Abri letter mom is, again, as we see in Mayim, or water, wherever the mom appears, it is representative of spirit. It is representative of spirit. Indeed, the life of the creature is in its blood. Blood is life. Blood is spirit. Without blood, the body dies, as it has no life. Without the spirit, we die. It's only the spirit gives life. It's only the spirit gives life. Where the spirit is, there is freedom. There is no bondage. There is a fertile place, a fertile ground, abundant in living water. And there is life. There is freedom. There is no dryness. There is no death. Many of you still got dry places. You still got dry places. The Spirit has not set you free. The Son has not set you free. And there is dryness, and there's death, and you're dying of thirst. Because there is no Spirit there. The Spirit of Yah, the Ruakh of Yah, the Ruakh HaKadosh, the Son, is not there. It's not there. I admonish you to seek someone in the Bayif of Yasha'al who understands spiritual matters and who has been given the authority to cast out devils, who has been given this assignment. Because not everybody has been given this assignment. Not everybody has been given this assignment, and it's not something that should be taken lightly. It's something that should be respected, not feared, but respected. But respected. But I admonish you to seek someone who has been given the authority to cast out devils, so then that the Spirit who gives life, who sets free, where water is, there is life. Where the Spirit is, there is life. Where blood is, there is life. The blood of Yahushua sets you free. So that after you have been set free, then the Spirit of Yah can come into you. So that when those Ruachs come back to lurk, and they're going to come back to lurk, they can't find a way in, because the Spirit of Yah is there. Because the Spirit of Yah is there. I pray that this has been edifying to someone. I pray that this has helped someone. I pray that this indeed it becomes a linchpin. It becomes a launching pad to setting you free. To setting you free. Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift up his face towards you and give you shalom. Thus you shall put my name on the children of Yasha'al, and I myself shall barak them. Amen. Amen. Amen.